What's up, guys? This is Corey, also known as QC Rideshare. Just hitting you with another one. Today's video, I'm going to do it on a follow up on um, Takl. It's been about 3 months since I've been working with Takl, so I felt as if it's a good time to kind of revisit some of the things that go on with the app, the service, see how kind of give you guys an update with how it works. So let's get right into it. So I've been working with Takl, like I said, for about 3 months, and so far the experiences have been pretty much all. I mean, have been all good. I mean, I haven't had any snafus or issues with the service. I'm starting to get into a point where I'm getting about 4 to 5 jobs with them per week, which is awesome because that's exactly where you want to be at. Because their amount per job is a lot higher, so that kind of gets into my about 20% range for my total income. Um, and also, I'm starting to see now that not only are people really encouraged about the service, which I'm hearing a lot of buzz around the city about people talking about it, but also I'm starting to see a lot of customers that I'm working with. They're excited about the service. Their friends have told them. I even had one person say that she went to Home Depot and the people at Home Depot told her to helped her download the app and schedule the appointment because they were like, this is the best service that you can get at an affordable price. So I think that's going to be great for the service as it progresses and develops into a larger business because it's something where as long as the customer is excited about it, they're going to make sure that the success of the company of the service happens. From the provider standpoint, I have seen, there's some things that I like, things that I think that they can improve on, and things that I think that they can add. So the things that I like are the customer service chat. I think I've talked more about the chat feature with different apps than a lot of other people out there, and it's because I understand the value of being able to talk to another person in a in a efficient amount of time, meaning 3 to 5 minutes, and being able to have someone looking at the job that I'm talking about, understand what my concerns are, and addressing them in a fast and concise manner. And Tackle's right there with Shift and some of the other companies that I've talked about when they do that. That's a big thing right there. The other thing is that they are doing a lot of marketing and advertisement, so they are fully invested in making sure that as a platform, Shipped grows, but also they're making sure that as a platform, you the provider are getting those referrals and those jobs, and so that's awesome. Um, Things that I think that they can do better. I see improvements with the app, but I think a couple things that they can do better are I would like to see an earnings tab in the app. Something where I don't. I think that because most of the people who work Tackle are your gig economy people or your 1099 people, so I think that having an earnings tab um, is something that is very valuable because if you have that, they can see how much they've earned so far during the week. That's going to motivate that person to work even a little bit harder. But also having that earnings tab lets you know, hey, you know what, I'm killing it this week. I'm doing great, or I need to step it up a little bit. Also, I think that having the option of being paid out once a week may be for some. I know for me that would be great, but for some it doesn't. But I think that may help as well because then I can look, hey, I made $400 with Tackle this week, and on Wednesday when I get my Uber, my Lyft money, all the other services, I can see Tackle depositing $400 in there, and it's something. It's not different than getting $50 in your account 8 different times, but it is something about seeing $400 or $500 or whatever the case may be put in your account at one time. So I think that that's something that they can do. Um, but it's the other thing is, let's see, the earnings tab, and also I've talked to some people about this, and they've kind of suggested it, being able to group chores. So I'll give you an example. Say you want to get your lawn mowed, but you also have some IKEA furniture that you don't want to put together, um, and you also want your dishes done. Let's just use those three random things. Instead of putting 3 different jobs out there and hoping that the same provider gets them. It would be beneficial if you can go ahead and just group all those tasks together, put it out there for somebody to come get, and they can take care of all three tasks. Now, I've spoken to Takl about this. They have stated that they kind of feel that that falls under their custom jobs, and they also said that's something where, or they could just do a while you're at it task. And I agree with both those premises. I think for the customer side though, because I think they might appreciate that, because I think customers don't necessarily, having that uncertainty, because you can say you want to do it while you're at it, but that provider has to be available to complete that task. And so I think that's something that they can do. Now, I did notice with their newsletter, they are encouraging different early communication texts that you can send out to your customer. The one that I saw recently was, hey, I'm looking forward to doing your job. I'll see you this time. Are there any other chores that you would like me to bring the proper tools for? Because then that kind of gets them to think about that while you're at it task. And I think that helps too. And so that's pretty much my follow-up impressions of the Takl app. I did want to address something that I see because I read a lot of comments online about different apps, and I read them on the app store and so forth. And something I've kind of seen, and it's kind of frustrating because I don't quite understand where it's coming from. I see people say, oh, well, Takl doesn't pay enough. And to me, I don't quite understand that. Because Takl discloses how much they take from each job. So the split. If you're listed as a favorite, it's an 80-20 split. If it's a while you're at it, it's a 90-10 split. If it's a new customer that you have no interaction with, it's a 70-30 split. That's disclosed. So knowing how much the job is going to pay and then being able to calculate what your split is, that's something that you can easily do. So I'll give you an example. If a customer has a job out there for $100 and you've never had an interaction with this customer, it's a 70-30 split. That means that the max you're going to make on that job is $70. Now, they can tip, that's something different, that's extra. But the max you're going to make is $70. Now, as a provider, you kind of have a ballpark of how long that task is going to take. So that task, if you see it and it's about 4 hours and that's going to be a 4-hour job, you might look at that and say, you know what, 4 hours breaks down to about $17.50 an hour. That's not really going to do it for me. I would suggest you not take that task. On the flip side of that, if you look at that task and you say, I can probably knock that out in 2 hours, then now you're talking about $35 an hour, and that provider should probably go and look to take that job. Stating that they don't pay enough means that you've taken jobs that when you took the job, you knew that the job was not going to pay you enough to do the job. I can't fault a platform for doing that. I can fault the person who took the job, because Takl is giving the customer the choices of services, and they're monitoring how much they're pricing, and they're monitoring whether customers are seeking those services. And so if Takl sees that, for hanging pictures, that no one is picking up these jobs at a certain price point, they can adjust those prices. But if everybody's taking those jobs at that price point and the customer's happy and the providers are taking the job, then there's kind of a disconnect. That's the other thing that I want to address. And I haven't seen it out there, but I'm going to put it out there. So Takl does limit tips. They limit the tipping amount to $25. And I understand why they do this. So the biggest issue that Takl faces is having contractors who want to do work off book. You see it on the notifications. You see it all the time. And the reason why is because that's generally how this field works. You get somebody's house, give me $50 to do this. And, it's a cash transaction or something like that. So Takl is trying to disrupt that. But what happens when you try to disrupt something, but you still need to use the people who are used to the traditional way, is that sometimes people like to work off the book. I've always said that doesn't make any sense, because you need the insurance coverage, you need the, and also why mess up your livelihood? But Takl limits the tips, because if I do a job, like if I put together a piece of furniture and it's a $50 job, and then the customer says, oh, well, can you do X, Y, and Z? And I say, okay, yeah, that'll be another 75, but just give it to me as a tip. Then Takl doesn't get their piece. So I understand that it's something where I would like to see them have a minimum tip amount. Like if you want to do the 25, I mean a maximum tip amount of the 25, but also for larger jobs, break that to a percentage. So if it's your standard is 25 max, so if you have $50 jobs, 25. But then if I have a $200 job, make that a percentage. So say, you know what, you can tip, but no more than 25%, which then says, okay, based off the scale of my job, that makes sense that my tip wouldn't be in that same area. So that's my impressions of Takl. Please let me know what you think, because some people may say, oh, he's completely off base. Some people may say, you know, he's right on point. I want to hear from you. I also want to hear which other videos you want me to do. I want to try to get this Takl video up as soon as possible. Also want to get this Instacart video up. Long week. So I want to try to get that up. Please look out for that Instacart first impressions. Until the next one, peace.